A mosquito lays eggs, then dies, leaving its children to fend for themselves in a world that wants them dead. And as soon as they hatch, they head straight for a life of crime. But all this is just the beginning. Because if you think you know everything about mosquitoes, I'm about to blow your mind. Welcome to my channel. One evening in the summer of 2019, while I was filming my movie, The Mosquito, the leading lady kept disappearing. Turns out she had to pop outside every few minutes to lay eggs. And I thought, well, there goes our budget. But she kept insisting, saying it was crucial to capture these parts of her life cycle for realism. So we let her go, and now I'm glad I did, because I'm about to share the most secretive, terrifying, and even beautiful aspects of the mosquito's journey from egg to adult. We're starting with the eggs because when I learned what happens to them, I was shocked. They don't stay put. In fact, they can travel. Imagine you're a mosquito egg riding a log down a river. One minute you're happily bobbing along, the next you're plunged into an icy cold lake. Then, after a few weeks, you find yourself floating again, this time on a leaf in a quiet pond. That's what happened to many of the eggs I observed during my film, because they get swept up by water currents and deposited far from where they started. Now, the egg itself is hard to spot. It's about the size of a pinhead and looks like a tiny black dot. Even with my macro lens, they're tough to pick out. But once you do, you realize they're actually little survival machines. Each one contains the future mosquito's food supply, its first meal. Inside the yolk are proteins and fats that the young mosquito, also called a larva, will feed on as it grows. How do they eat? Well, the eggshell isn't made for chewing. Instead, it splits open, forming a hole with a rubbery flap that acts like a straw. When the time is right, the larva sucks out water and the nutrients inside the yolk. The rest of the egg dries up and gets discarded, leaving the larva free to swim around in the water. But wait, I hear you asking, didn't you say the eggs were black? Now we're talking about swimming larvae. Are you trying to pull my leg? Here's where it gets really weird. You see, the color of a mosquito egg depends on what species it is. Some are white, others red or brown. But take a closer look at the common house mosquito, the most widespread species in the world. Its eggs are black, but only under dry conditions. Once the eggs are in water, the black pigment disappears, revealing a translucent larva. That's why we couldn't spot them earlier. Nature's way of saying, hey, we're invisible until we're ready to be seen. After filling up on their first meal, the larvae, which are now officially known as wigglers, spend their days eating and growing. Their bodies lengthen, becoming segmented like a mini earthworm. At each end are two breathing holes, siphons, which poke out of the water, sucking air into the hidden depths. Each larva molts several times as it grows, shedding its skin like a snake, which makes sense since mosquitoes belong to the order of insects called diptera, meaning to wings, which includes flies and, yes, mosquitoes. And while we're on the subject of things we eat, did you know that when it comes to meals, mosquitoes are picky eaters? Anything that's liquid and full of protein and fat will do. But no worries, I won't delve into those gory details here. Instead, we'll explore another oddity of mosquito larvae. They play Tetris. No, seriously. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when you see a mosquito larva, it seems to disappear? One minute it's there, the next it's vanished. Where does it go? Under its skin is a flexible membrane called the air pocket, which allows the larva to expand its body and fill up on more food. But here's the trick. It can shed this outer skin at will, leaving behind an empty husk that mimics the original larva. This is an adaptation to confuse predators. And although it may seem strange, it's just another example of how the humble mosquito has been fine-tuning its art of survival over millions of years. In fact, the first fossil evidence of mosquitoes dates back some 200 million years, making them older than dinosaurs. They coexisted with some pretty big names like Ankylosaurus and Stegosaurus. So you could say they've always been masters of survival. Meanwhile, back in the present, the larvae continue to grow and develop. Eventually, they're ready for the next stage of their bizarre journey. Now that they're fully nourished, it's time for the larvae to pupate. They crawl up a plant stem or other solid object, shed their skin one last time, and form a chrysalis. It's a dark, protective shell that keeps the growing mosquito safe as it transforms. The whole process takes a week or so, during which the larva grows wings and legs, antennae, and a mouth for drinking blood. The front part of its body becomes the head, and the back part becomes the abdomen. All those genetic instructions that were bundled together in a small ball during the larval stage suddenly get unbundled. The genes start to express themselves and shape the tissues of the developing mosquito. But you might be wondering, how do we know this? I mean, we can't see the mosquito transforming inside the chrysalis. Well, scientists have been studying insect development for decades. Thanks to technology like electron microscopes, X-rays, and computer tomography, they can track how tissues form and organs develop. And what they found is truly remarkable. The mosquito's brain develops faster than the rest of its body, possibly to prepare for taking off as soon as it emerges from the cocoon. It's like the mosquito knows it has to hit the ground running and starts training its brain long before it's fully formed. So how long do the adults live? House mosquitoes typically live between 20 and 30 days. During that time, they need to find a meal that's rich in nutrients to help them reproduce. Enter the blood feast. Male mosquitoes drink nectar and plant juices, but females need protein and iron to produce eggs. That's why they seek out blood meals. As I delve deeper into the science behind mosquitoes, I couldn't help but marvel at their ingenuity. Take, for instance, their ability to choose the perfect host. A female mosquito has a sensitive antenna that acts like a radar, picking up the carbon dioxide we exhale. She uses this to navigate towards us. And once she finds a suitable host, she bites and drinks our blood. But she doesn't do it alone. Mosquito saliva contains anticoagulants that prevent our blood from clotting. It also has anesthetic compounds that stop us from feeling the pain. It's like they're equipped with their own personal anesthetics. And it's not just their hunting skills that are impressive. Their lifespans are surprisingly long, thanks to a trick they've been perfecting for millions of years. You see, when a mosquito is born, it doesn't have all the nutrients it needs to survive. That's why they head straight for a blood meal as soon as they emerge from their cocoons. But here's the catch. They can't fly long distances with a full belly. So they have to find a balance between getting enough nourishment and staying light on their feet. To solve this problem, they've evolved a clever trick. Their bodies contain sacs that allow them to store extra blood without slowing them down. It's like having a built-in backpack for carrying their meals. Now, you might be wondering, why haven't we figured out how to disrupt this trick? Well, mosquitoes have been honing this skill for millions of years, and they've got it down to an art form. In the end, the female mosquito's main goal is to lay eggs. After finding a suitable breeding site, she lays batches of up to 300 eggs and then dies. The males, on the other hand, usually die shortly after mating. They don't need to find blood and can focus on producing more sperm. The whole process is like a relay race. The male passes the baton of sperm production to the next generation of males, ensuring that the bloodline continues. In just a few weeks, they went from being microscopic eggs to full-grown adults ready to start the cycle anew. It's a testament to the resilience and adaptability of nature that never ceases to amaze me. After filming the mosquito, I realized these creatures deserve more than our fear. Sure, they can be a nuisance and spread diseases, but they're also survivors, perfectly adapted to their environment and playing an important role in our ecosystem. Maybe instead of cursing their existence, we can learn to appreciate their tenacity and use it as inspiration to tackle our own challenges. So, the next time you hear the buzz of a mosquito, take a moment to consider its incredible journey from egg to adult. You might just find a new sense of respect for these tiny yet resilient creatures. Now, if you want to dive deeper into the mysteries of the natural world, check out this video where I explore the incredible life cycle of butterflies. Or if you prefer a different kind of adventure, watch this video where I investigate the fascinating world of bees. Don't forget to subscribe and join me on my journey of scientific discovery.